Hello guys, welcome to Angular tutorial for the beginners. So in the last video tutorial we have understand what is two-way binding and what is event binding in Angular and how we can able to perform along with the task. Now in this video we are going to understand the components in Angular. So in the introduction and in the project files we guys have understood the components are created or components are to be created for the different uses. Let us say we have to be like segregate our task into different modules or the part of executions. Well, in that case we are going to create a components and upload that components in a file, and we can use them n number of times. Okay, so what points we guys are going to create right here to be understand is what is component, how to create the component, and how to use the components in Angular. Component is a part of Angular where we can able to write our small part of our application. Like, let us imagine I wanted to develop a website with the website having header, footer, main content, or the blog 1, blog 2, blog 3, and so many parts. Such kind of contents, instead of writing a proper pages or proper HTML, you can create a component. But what is the main use? What if I got created a component? So component we can able to create at least for once, and we can use them by n number of times. So let us say I have 10 pages in my applications and I got written the header component. So I don't want to write that code of header by 10 times in my application right itself. I can create a component as a header. I can design whatever I wanted to design right there, and I can use them for the rest of 10 web pages very easily. And this is why the Angular is a component based framework that we have understood at the introduction level. Now let us do understand how we can able to create the component in our Angular file. So to the same projects I'm going to do the changes. So this is what the last video that we guys have seen, the two-way binding and the event binding. So to this same I'm going to write some changes as I have imported the bootstrap. If you haven't checked with that, you guys can check the previous video, you will get that idea about it. So as far as the concern, the default what we can say the component that is got created in Angular is what app. And in this app component you guys can see we have component.css, we have component.html, component spec.ts, and component.ts. So for every single component file, one more folder is got created having that respective informations. All right, so let us do that changes right here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create the components, and to create a component you can go to the terminal, okay, here, and you can simply write a one single command. Okay, let us wait for it to load. All right, so we are at the terminal and I'm going to write a command to create the component is what the ng. Okay, so we are going to write generate, okay, component, and the name of component you can write. Let us say I wanted to create a header component, so I'm going to say header as the name of component, and I'm going to hit an enter. Now see, the changes is going to be made after this creation to our application. So I'm going to hit an enter. So it will take probably 15-20 seconds to create all the information. And yes, you guys can see it says which files have created a component header dot component dot html, header dot component dot spec dot ts, again header dot component dot ts, and header dot component dot css. And you guys can see here when I explore this, so in an app folder, one more folder we have, and inside this folder I have these respective files available. Okay, this component header.component.css file is separated for only the header section. So if you have any CSS to write for the header, you can able to mention it here. Then this is separated the HTML code for the header, then this is testing TypeScript and their own backend TypeScript file. So similar like this, you can create one more container. Let us say I'm going to create section 1 as a name of my component right here. So using this command, I can create ng generate component, and I'm just going to say section 1, and let us hit an enter. And but obviously it is going to be update to our app.module.ts file also. Let me show you this. So in app.module.ts, you guys can see lastly we have imported forms module, but as I got created two components, so they have successfully imported here, and also they have added to the declarations. We don't want to write that code. It can be done automatically as it's a framework based programming language. All right, so I got created this. There are one more way to create the component, that is what using shortcut like this I can able to do ng, okay, g for generate, c for component, and let us say section 2. I'm just going to write section 2, and now let us hit an enter. So now one more like let me just scroll it up, so you guys can see section 1 got created, now section 2 got created, and one more section I'm going to create it, let us say ng, okay, gc, let us say section 3, so that I can form my entire website. That is what my main motto right here. So I'm just going to create it section 3 also. All right, section 3 got created, and the last one nggc, the footer also I am going to create. Now let us write that code and convert them in a specific template of our HTML. So for this, what I'm going to do right now, I am at app.component.ts. Let me delete this. So I'm going to remove all this code from here, and all the components I'm going to be imported right here. I'm just going to change their HTML codes, and I'm trying to update that value right at here. So firstly, I'm going to design the header. So directly at HTML, so by default in a paragraph it says header works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove that code, and I'm just going to add a div with a class as container fluid, okay, bg primary, and I'm just going to say here as a text center and the text wide also. So all these classes I'm using, and inside it I'm going to print the like let us say h3, okay, my first Angular web application. So this is what they are available into the header.component. Now I wanted to use this header component to my app component file. Like how we can able to use this? To use them, we can go to the component, that respective component.ts file, so header.component.ts, and you can look for the selector. So what is the selector? App-header. So using these name and the HTML tags, I can access the same code that I have written at here by n number of times by writing it here. Okay, let me show you this. So I'm going to say app, what is that, header, okay, so opening and closing. So as I have written only for once, so you guys can see in the output it will comes only for once. Okay, let me just add some paddings also so that it will feels good. Okay, so padding 2. All right, so we have says the padding 2. Now you guys can see in app.component.html file, as I have written it for once, what if I copy and paste it for 3 times? So you guys can see 3 times the same div are going to create it. And this is what I'm saying at initially. The component can create it only for once, but we can access them by n number of times as per our need of the logic. And this is the best way to implement the component driven applications. Now next to that is, okay, I'm going to design, let us say okay, this is what for just header. So in the header I'm just going to provide this title. Well, I will close this header and I will close this ts file also. Now I will go to the section 1, and in the section 1 again we have the paragraphs called as section 1 works. So instead of this, I wanted to create a div with the class, let us say container from the bootstrap, and I'm going to write some paddings also. Let me write the padding, that is a padding 2, margin from top is 3, and I'm going to change the background color also. So background I'm going to say secondary, and well here I'm going to put a image and some data right there. So we are going to put the Angular and the content about the Angular. So let us check with this. I'm going to go for the Angular logo. I'm directly putting the data right there from the URL directly. So let me take this. I guess this is good. Yeah. All right. So let us open a new tab. So this is the image. So I'm going to copy this. Right, so here I wanted to make them return in a flex format, so I'm going to provide it here as flex and display flex. Okay, so two more div I'm going to write. So div with the column, let us say 6, and here one more div for our paragraph, that is also for column 6. Right, so in the first div I wanted to write with the image, so image tag with the source, this is the source, and let us check. Okay, let us put some data also. So I will get back here and I'm just going to search for Angular. Right, so I'm just going to use some content. All right, so Angular is a TypeScript and blah 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 blah. So let's take this file, and here in the format of paragraphs I'm going to paste it. Alright, so let us apply the section 1 right here. So the app name is app section 1. Okay, how to recognize this? Again, you can follow the same thing. Go to the section1.component.ts, and this is the selector. So right now I have put header and section. Let us check with here in the output. So you guys can see, yes, it appears like this. So if you want again, to write some things on code like section 1, I have to be design it. Let us provide some height and width to this image tag. So I'm going to say the width as 150 and the height is also at, let us say, okay, let us put them again for 150. Okay, it looks fine. That's if you wanted to design that, you can design it well. So just this normal thing that I wanted to show, and instead of this BG second, I'm going to put BG dark. Right, again in the similar way, what I'm going to do next is or else we can able to assign it in a better way. Instead of this call 6, I'm going to write call 4, and this is what for call 8. All right, that's fine. So again for 150 I'm going to remove them to the 100, so that looks better. Yeah, it looks better, but not exactly. I'm going to provide them a line. So a line to the right. A line is not getting working. All right. So if you want, you guys can able to add that all the information, or I'm going to say M by 4. No, it is not required. All right. So this is the section 1 we got written, or instead of this we guys can able to develop in other way. So I'm going to remove this all, and I'm just going to assign some height and width to that section. So here one more thing I'm going to be added, that is what, let us say for this I'm going to write BG secondary, and one more user defined class I'm writing. Let us say this is what, section 1. So let us define the CSS for this, only the component. So I'm going to define it section1.component.css, and this is the section 1. As it's user defined, we have to write that dot, and here I'm going to write height, let us say 350 pixels. Then display I'm going to write as a flex, and you need to change the background color. I guess there is no need to change the background colors. Instead of this margin top, I'm going to remove this so that it will appear to that. And here in the h1 I'm going to print with the class as text center as, okay, this is section 1. Right, so let us print them in a text center. So we have to assign the width also to the 100. Yeah, okay. All right, so now the next thing that we guys are going to do is to works with rest of the sections. Okay, this is section 1. I'm going to copy this command completely and now get back to the section 2. So again, section 2.html. Here we have this paragraph. I'm going to remove this. I'm writing this section 2, and let us say this is what, warning. Okay, this is section 2. So let's define the CSS for the section 2 dot section 2, and I'm just going to define the height as 350 pixels. Okay, we have to add it to our app.component, so I'm going to remove all the previous. Right, to remove the previous one, and after this section 1 I'm going to add the section 2. Okay, in the same manner, you guys can see we have section 2 right now, section 1 right now. So likewise you can define section 3 also. So we are first going to write with this all the data, and then we are going to have the changes. Now let us write the footer also. So let us do that changes. So when it comes to the section 3, so this is what at the section 3. So again I'm going to be paste that information, and instead of this class section 1 I'm going to change it to the section 3, and here I'm going to write as a primary, and this must be the text void so that it can feels good. Alright, so this is the class section 3. I'm going to write the height again 250 pixels. Now you guys can see, okay, section 1 is there, section 2 is there, section 3, and footer also we have to design. So let us design the footer. So footer is at the top. So at the HTML, I'm going to create a div with the class of container fluid, and I'm going to assign some padding, some background color. Let us say background primary, and here the h3 tags. So at the class of text center with a width of 100, I'm going to print copyright to LeadSoft. So let's get back here, and you guys can see, okay, the colors are same, and instead of h1 we should have to use paragraph. Okay, so colors are same, I'm going to change it to warning. So this is how you can create a components, and you can create a single page web applications very easily in Angular using the component. So we have understood what is component, how to create the components, and moreover how to use them. But most ever important thing that you guys have to understand is what, let me close all this and let me just open the app.component.html. I have uses all the components in app.component.html file. We haven't used them in the index.html. So whatever the components that you are created, that all components can be get access very easily to the app.component.html. Well, if you wanted to access them to the index.html, well, in that case you can add them to the bootstrap. Okay, as I have explained them in the project structure, the bootstrap will define which component is going to be shows, and unfortunately in the bootstrap we can able to represent only single component at a time, and that is the reason we should have to show them only at app.component.html. I hope you guys have understood what is component in Angular, how to create and how to use the components, and using the components how we can design the web application. Okay, that's it for this video. If you guys have understood something, give us the thumbs up, and if you're new to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel, shareful to the needful people. Thanks for watching this video.